Right now, there are dealers in this country charging people $1,500 to replace something you can fix yourself for $10 in 30 minutes of your time. $1,500 for a problem that is not broken, not cracked, not damaged, just dirty. And they know it. If your car is more than 5 or 6 years old, walk outside right now and look at your headlights. If they're yellow, hazy, cloudy, and I guarantee most of you are going to see exactly that, you are driving at night with 80% less light than you're supposed to have. That is not my opinion. AAAA tested this in a laboratory. They took headlights off 2 sedans, 11 years old, and measured the light output against brand new ones. The old ones produced 22% of the light. 22. That means almost 80% of your visibility gone. And you probably never even noticed because it happens so slowly. Now here's the part that makes my blood boil. Half of all car crashes in this country happen at night. Half. And your dealer knows your headlights are putting out barely a fifth of what they should. But instead of telling you there's a $10 fix sitting on a shelf at Walmart, they hand you a quote for new headlight assemblies and act like that's your only option. It's not. Not even close. I'm going to show you exactly what to buy, where to get it, and how to do this yourself in your own driveway. But the reason this works so well, and the reason dealers pray you never figure it out, starts with what's actually happening to that plastic right now. Your headlights are not made of glass. They haven't been since the mid-90s. Every car on the road today uses polycarbonate, plastic, lighter, cheaper to manufacture, and more resistant to impact than glass. The car companies love it because it saves them money per unit. But polycarbonate has one weakness that glass never had. Sunlight destroys it. Every headlight leaves the factory with a thin, UV-resistant clear coat on the outside. Think of it like sunscreen for plastic. That coating is the only thing standing between your headlights and the sun. And just like sunscreen, it doesn't last forever. 3 to 5 years of UV exposure, and that coating starts to break down. Once it does, the bare plastic underneath begins to oxidize. That's the yellow, that's the haze, that's the cloudiness you see when you look at your headlights and think your car is getting old. It's not age, it's chemistry. The ultraviolet radiation is breaking the molecular bonds in the polycarbonate, and the surface turns into this rough, pitted, yellowed mess that scatters light in every direction instead of letting it pass through clean. That's why your headlights look like they've been dipped in mustard. And that's why washing them, scrubbing them, hitting them with glass cleaner, none of that does a thing. You're not dealing with dirt. You're dealing with plastic that has been chemically altered by the sun. And here's what nobody tells you. If you park outside, if you live anywhere south of Pennsylvania, if your car sits in a parking lot 8 hours a day while you work, this is already happening to your headlights right now. Doesn't matter if your car is a 2020 or a 2024. I've seen 3-year-old trucks roll up to my property with headlights already going yellow. The car companies know this coating fails. They've known it for 30 years. But a headlight that stays clear forever is a headlight they can't sell you twice. Now you know what's happening. You know why it's happening. So what does the dealer do about it? You walk into the dealer for an oil change, maybe a tire rotation, and the service advisor pulls you aside. We noticed your headlights are pretty hazy. For safety reasons, we recommend replacing the headlight assemblies. Then they hand you the estimate, and your jaw hits the floor. A single OEM headlight assembly, just one side, runs anywhere from $300 to over $1,000, depending on your vehicle. If you drive anything with LED or HI, D headlights, which is most cars built after 2018, you're looking at $800 to $1,500 per side. Some luxury vehicles, $3,000 per headlight. Then you add labor. On a lot of modern cars and trucks, the mechanic has to pull the front bumper off just to access the headlight housing. That's 1 to 3 hours of labor at $100 to $150 an hour. So for both headlights on a typical SUV, you're staring at a bill somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500 for plastic that isn't broken, isn't cracked, just oxidized on the surface. I had a neighbor drive up here last fall, said his dealer quoted him $1,400 for both headlight assemblies on his Chevy Traverse. $1,400. The headlights worked perfectly fine. The bulbs were fine. The wiring was fine. The housing wasn't cracked. The only problem was that hazy yellow layer on the outside of the lens, a layer thinner than a sheet of paper. And here's why they push the replacement every single time. The profit margin on headlight assemblies is enormous. The dealer pays wholesale, marks it up, charges you full labor, and walks away with hundreds of dollars in pure profit on a job that took his tech an hour. If that same dealer told you the truth, that you can restore those headlights yourself for the price of a large pizza, he makes zero, nothing, not a dime. There is no version of this where the dealer benefits from you knowing what I'm about to tell you. So they don't tell you. They show you the hazy headlight. They say the word safety, and they let you assume replacement is the only option. It's not incompetence. It's business. And it's a business that depends entirely on you not knowing that what you actually need is sitting on a shelf at your nearest Walmart right now. A headlight restoration kit. That's it. That's what the dealer doesn't want you to know exists. You can walk into any Walmart, any AutoZone, any O'Reilly in this country and buy one for somewhere between $10 and $22. The one I recommend is the Sylvania Headlight Restoration Kit. Sylvania has been making automotive lighting for over 100 years. They are not some no-name brand on Amazon. This kit comes with everything you need. Sandpaper in 3 different grits, a surface activator solution, clarifying compound, a UV block clear coat, and even the towels to apply it. It covers both headlights, and it comes with a lifetime warranty for $22. And don't let anyone tell you this is some cheap hack that doesn't really work. The Sylvania kit has been tested and ranked #1 by multiple independent reviewers. It's the same brand that supplies headlights to car manufacturers straight from the factory. They know the plastic, they know the coating, and they engineered the restoration process to reverse exactly the damage their own product develops over time. This isn't some as seen on TV nonsense. This is a 100-year-old lighting company giving you the fix for a problem they understand better than anyone. Now let me explain why this works, because this isn't some gimmick. This is science. Remember what I told you, your headlights aren't dirty. The outer layer of the polycarbonate has been chemically damaged by UV radiation. That damaged layer is what's yellow and hazy. It's maybe 1/1000th of an inch thick. What the kit does is remove that damaged layer entirely and then protect the fresh plastic underneath so it doesn't happen again. The sandpaper does the heavy lifting. You start with a coarse grit to cut through the oxidized layer, then work your way through finer and finer grits until the surface is smooth at a microscopic level. The clarifying compound polishes out any remaining haze, and then, and this is the step that separates a $10 fix that lasts 2 years from a $10 fix that lasts 2 months, you apply the UV clear coat. That clear coat recreates the factory UV protection that failed in the first place. Without it, you've just exposed fresh, bare plastic to the sun, and in 3 months, you're right back where you started. AAA tested this. Professional restoration and do-it-yourself. Restoration both brought light output back to approximately 70% of what a brand new headlight produces. 70% from 22%. That is a 300% improvement in how much light hits the road in front of you at night for $10 to $22 and 30 minutes in your driveway. Now, if you want to go even cheaper, you don't even need the kit. You can buy 3 sheets of wet sandpaper, 800 grit, 1500 grit, and 3000 grit for about $4 total. A bottle of rubbing compound for another $4, and a can of UV Clear Coat Spray for $6 or $7. You're under $15, you've got enough material to do 4 or 5 cars, and the results are identical. The kit is more convenient, the do-it-yourself route is cheaper. Either way, you're spending less than a pizza to fix something the dealer wants $2,000 for. The whole thing starts with clean plastic, soap, and water, dried off completely. Nothing fancy. The tape is the part most people skip, and it's the part that matters most. Painter's tape or automotive masking tape around the entire lens, the paint, the chrome, the bumper, everything that isn't headlight plastic. That sandpaper will cut through your car's clear coat like butter if your hand slips even half an inch, and repainting a fender costs more than new headlights ever would. 2 minutes of taping is the cheapest insurance you'll ever buy. The Sylvania kit comes with a surface activator, a spray solution that softens the oxidized layer before you touch it with sandpaper. You hit the lens generously, let it sit about 30 seconds, and you can actually see the yellowing start to break down right there in front of you. It's making the sanding easier and more effective. If you went the do-it-yourself route with loose sandpaper, you skip this part and go straight to the sanding. It works fine either way. The activator just speeds things up. The sanding is where the real transformation happens, and the key is wet sanding. The sandpaper and the headlight stay wet the entire time. A spray bottle with water is all you need. The coarsest grit goes first, 400 with the Sylvania kit, 800 if you bought your own sheets. The reason you go in straight horizontal lines and never circles is because circular sanding leaves swirl marks in the plastic that show up the second light passes through the lens at night, little half-moon scratches that scatter light in every direction instead of letting it hit the road. Straight lines, one direction, overlapping your stroke slightly so there are no ridges. The pressure stays firm but controlled. The goal is removing that paper-thin oxidized layer, not grinding down to bare plastic. 2 to 3 minutes per headlight per grit is all it takes. If the sandpaper starts dragging or skipping, that means it needs more water. The milky white residue coming off the surface is the oxidized layer leaving. That's exactly what you want to see. Once the entire lens looks evenly frosted, the next grit takes over. 1,000 with the kit, 1,500 on your own. Same approach, straight lines, wet, even pressure. The lens starts looking noticeably smoother. The final grit, 2,000 with the kit, 3,000 if you did it yourself, brings it to the point where the plastic looks almost clear when it's wet. The clarifying compound goes on with a clean cloth, worked in small circles until the remaining haze disappears. The lens should already look dramatically better at this point. And then comes the step that separates the people who get results that last 2 years from the people whose headlights look yellow again by Christmas. The UV Clear Coat. This is what recreates the factory protection that failed in the first place. Thin, even strokes, not in direct sunlight, not on a humid day, 2 thin coats with about 5 minutes between them. Then it needs 4 to 6 hours to cure. No driving, no water, no touching. After that, the headlights look like they just came off the factory line. Now I need to be straight with you because I've seen people do this wrong and end up worse than where they started. The number one mistake is skipping the tape. I've had people drive up here with sanding scratches all over their fenders because they thought they'd be careful enough. You won't be. The sandpaper doesn't care where your hand slips. And once you cut through the clear coat on your paint, you're looking at a body shop bill that makes the dealer's headlight quote look cheap. Tape costs $2. Use it. The second mistake is the clear coat application. If you apply it on a humid day, it won't bond properly. If you apply it in direct sunlight, it dries too fast and you get streaks that are permanent. They will be baked into the coating, and the only way to fix it is to sand it all off and start over. If you put it on too thick, it runs and pools and looks worse than the oxidation did. The rule is simple. Dry day, shade, 2 thin coats, not 1 thick one. Thin. Let the first coat tack up for 5 minutes, then hit it with the second, and then leave it alone. 4 to 6 hours minimum before you drive or get it wet. If you want results that last even longer, 3 to 5 years instead of 1 to 2, skip the wipe-on UV coat that comes in the kit and buy a can of 2K Automotive Clear Coat Spray, about $12 to $15 at any auto parts store. It's the same stuff body shops use. Harder finish, better UV protection, and it holds up to weather and car washes far longer than the kit's clear coat. So let's lay this out one more time. Your dealer wants $1,500, 2 new headlight assemblies, a bumper removal, 3 hours of labor, and a week waiting for parts to come in. What you actually need is a $10 kit from Walmart and 30 minutes on a Saturday afternoon. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety found that vehicles with properly functioning headlights have 19% fewer nighttime crashes, 29% fewer driver injuries, and 23% fewer pedestrian accidents. This isn't cosmetic. This is whether you see the kid on the bicycle or you don't. And there's one more thing nobody talks about. Cloudy headlights are the number one thing that makes a car look 10 years older than it is. You want to sell your car or trade it in? The first thing a buyer sees is those yellow, foggy lenses, and they immediately assume the whole car has been neglected. A $10 restoration doesn't just give you your visibility back, it adds hundreds of dollars to the perceived value of your vehicle. $10, 30 minutes. Both headlights, and you'll see the road at night the way you were supposed to this whole time. The dealer can keep that $1,500 quote. I'd rather spend my $10 on something useful like a good cigar